Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 72 of the SWW Show. It's me, AJ. I got Mike along with me, as normal.
Hello. It is I was gonna say a brisk pre-Halloween evening, but it's really not brisk here. I don't know about you, but it's like this. We went from these 80-degree days to this like wind that just keeps whipping.
Yeah. Yeah, as we're recording this, we had 44-mile-an-hour winds the day before. So, yeah.
I don't know. Be safe out there, people, when you're driving. The wind is a whipping. It is an All Hallows Eve.
As we're recording this.
Yes. See, I'm proud of that transition. But yeah. Welcome to SWW Show. We got a lot to go through. Let's jump into, I guess, what we have played. We're gonna leave the big part, which was me and AJ both had a good time to go to GDEX and Columbus this last week. We'll save some of those demos at the tail end of what we've played, but we both have something here before then. Do you mind if I get started with the UFO 50?
Yeah, go for it.
Are you familiar with this?
Potentially. You'd have to describe it to me, because...
So UFO 50 it's a collection of 50 single player and multiplayer games that are basically, I don't know how to go, but they're like these super small games that like each of them like you could play for some level of 10 minutes, probably like a few hours type thing, and they're like these very simple ideas. So like one of them is a simple like turn-based like 4x4 grid strategy game.
Oh,
of, like,
this is the game that's been, or like, I guess game is kind of a weird way to put it. Like it's a kind of interface for a bunch of games. But
yeah,
this
and
has
it's a
been
bunch
in,
of like
development for a while.
well, and it's a bunch of devs that you've probably heard of.
Yeah.
So it's devs behind Splunky or Downwall or like a few others. It's almost like this greatest hits, like almost type museum piece. And what's fun, the whole like thing of it is they pitch it like these were lost games. So the dates are like 1987 or 19, like they totally just to make sure the like publication, like these are lost games, is the whole idea.
Yeah.
I just want to put out though, bang for a buck though, there's definitely some games that I don't love, and it's gonna be very hit or miss for people. But it's $25 for 50 games, in which I argue I'd be shocked if you like these old types of games that you can't find 10 or 20 that you really have a good time with. So, bang for buck, I would definitely say go check it out. It is UFO 50. There are fighting games, there's a JRPG in this, there's point and click puzzle games, there's good old fashioned like arcade shooters, like there's a lot of stuff kind of mixed in and a lot of cool ideas from creators that we've probably been exposed with over time. So
Yeah, it sounds really cool. I'm glad that it's finally out, because I remember the announcement of this idea.
I find it is the team behind Splunky when it comes to Steam, but I know it's a bunch of other people.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's more than Derek Yu on the back end. It's just I think it's just going through his Steam account.
Well, were some of these developed for that? It was the Frank.
Are you thinking the Playdate?
Yeah.
I don't know if any of them were.
I think this came out of some of those Playdate
It's possible.
developers.
Like that Playdate stuff had some real. It's funny because are they still making that?
The Playdate?
Yeah.
I don't know, because a lot of the podcasts and stuff like that, where I know, excuse me, people had them, they're not talking about it anymore. But it's not like they're not talking about it because it's dead. I think it was one of those where it was like,
so I think they're still happening. So currently on their website, it's back ordered to December. But them being back ordered, and that soon makes me feel like it's actually still happening.
well, and also remember it had like, they're doing like game drops.
Yeah, it's seasons.
Yeah, so it's not like it's
Okay, they stated in February they sold 70,000 playdates, but that doesn't.
well, let's just see.
Oh yeah, God, they raised the price last year.
I'm not see all the Season 1 titles. Playdate comes with a season of 24 amazing games from developers big and small.
I only see the Season 1 titles.
So there were 12 weeks worth
But you can side load this thing. I know that because I'm on the dev side right now.
So there were 12 weeks of game releases from Season 1.
Submit your favorite.
The last thing they posted was back in July that they have refreshed the Playdate Shop website.
Hopefully it's wrong. I kind of really enjoy these last few years. We've gotten this combination of really weird homebrew consoles, so you can play it obviously. And I like the new, like all of the old emulator type consoles we're getting now. Like I have that one for like Game Boy and stuff like that. Like I like how we're actually getting kind of to this thing of like obviously like we saw Steam Deck last year. I think we found a weird thing of as consoles are figuring out like what they are and stuff, like this niche console market for weird stuff has been popping up, which I really appreciate.
Yeah. So back in May, they posted that April 18th, 2024 was the 2-year anniversary of the launch. And to date, they had sold over 150,000 games, netting to just over $500,000 in gross rev to devs. Let's see. Catalog and its crank to buy technology. Right, so the store launched about a year after.
Crank to buy.
So they had if I'm remembering the timeline right, the Playdate launched, then the Season 1 stuff happened, then the store was released.
All side loading otherwise.
Yes.
Okay. So there's probably more stuff out there, it's just... Okay, yeah. Okay, there's a Playdate. Oh, interesting. You can mirror this PC, and I did find the section about side loading. Yeah, it's very relatively easy to do, looks like. Okay, you can just side load via USB. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, that's a cool thing.
It exists. If it still exists, maybe we'll hear stuff soon. But jumping back, it says here you've been playing Construction Sim.
Construction Simulator, yeah. Wasting away playing a construction game.
Is it? Do you yearn for the mines? Is that what's going on?
Honestly, no. It's just a great time sink. Like, it's really relaxing. It's not super hard or anything.
So because of my job, I overlap with some of this tech and all this fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
How, like, when we say simulator, obviously, like, how like accurate do you feel is like how many things are we playing with? Are we like one of the things like is there like budget and stuff to keep on too? Or is it just like complete the task?
There is kind of a, I guess, arbitrary budget of this task only pays this amount. So you'll always turn a profit if you're smart. And then you can start buying stuff and turn even more of a profit.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean the systems are like that style of system is all right. You know, it's like any other game, right? Like Truck Simulator or any of these games where it's a pretty dumbed down economy. But it's one of those where, like, you know, you're driving around and I need to redo a road, so I need to tear the old road out, then I need to re-level it, then I need to pave it, then I need to compact the pavement, then it's done, kind of thing. And so, like, redoing a road takes, like, 2 hours in the game, because it's fair, I'd call it, where, like, sometimes, like, if the task is over a large area, it's not like your 100% of the area is realistically probably like 75 to 80% they actually have to do at most.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if it's a smaller area, it's much more strict about, like, hey, to actually get 100% of this, you need to actually do this.
Okay.
There are some, like, obviously video game aspects of, like, oh, if you need to dig a hole and it's a big one, if you have a dozer, you just kind of need to start a hole and then you just push the dirt around and it says you're removing it, kind of thing. So it's like there's certain ways to kind of game the system and speed things up, but it's it's a really good. I mean, there's a lot of licensed stuff which I thought was pretty interesting. Of, like, they went out and licensed stuff from Caterpillar and stuff.
I was gonna say, like, the actual trucks and all that stuff, I assume.
Yeah, the brands.
But, like, here goes that weird thing. Like, do games like this work if you can't get the licenses? Like, I used to think Farming Simulator has to have actual farming stuff. Otherwise, the people who know would just go, "What the fuck's this?"
I think they can work, but it's definitely like it's a leg up in the market if you have the licenses. Right, I think if you can't get the licenses, you have to get a little mechanically funky. Like, Burnout Paradise is a great example. Actually, all the Burnout games are, but Burnout Paradise is the most recent one. None of the cars were licensed, right? They looked close enough.
But, like, no, you weren't ever driving a Mustang or a Lambo. Right. You weren't actually doing this, yeah.
So instead of it just being an open world racing game without a license, it's like, screw it. Like, the whole aim of the game is to wreck cars while also finishing first. So, in terms of a game like this, I don't know if it would do very well. Now, like, I think the bus simulator game doesn't have a license. There's a pretty popular, like...
Okay, I don't know enough buses, I guess, because in my head I'm like, but what could be for buses?
Yeah. I mean, the shape is generic enough that you kind of get away with it. So... but then there's, you think of something like Train World Simulator, where the whole desire of that is buying the train and buying the line and being, kind of to live out that life. Like, I understand that stuff partially because, I do iRacing, where it's the same thing, right? Where it's, well, I want this car because I like that car, and I want this track because I like that track. And then you can mix and match as you're going along. So it's nice to have a game like this where it's more gamified, and it's just a great way to wind down. So that's usually why I go to it, is like, oh, I just wanna crane shit around for an hour, right? I got like an hour and a half before I want to go to bed. It's pretty much mindless. There is enjoyment because you're constantly ticking off boxes. Yeah.
Sounds like a good time then. But yeah, let's jump into it. As we said, we were at GDEX a few days this last week. We saw, I'd say we were both impressed by, like, the quality of stuff this year, and I think there's a few games that kind of stand out. But also, again, I think there was at the show. I think it's a good show. I think as we said it got a lot better from the games we saw and kind of what was available there.
Yeah.
The one I would like to start with,
Yeah.
I would think would be the one that I think you spent a long time breaking, which is that we got to see Quiet on Set, which is by these people, the studio called Skookum Arts, which I was not familiar with before. But this Quiet on Set, you're back. It was a demo for this backlot Hollywood set. What the fun mechanic was, though, is that when you place a camera, that the camera would kind of be able to go back or forward in time, like on a tape deck, but you could actually see like what have been seen in those moments. I don't know any more about that, but I still stick with it. I think that's a really fun mechanic and a good way to kind of like, we've seen stuff like that before, but I think it was a good kind of dressing and a kind of fun way to kind of figure out what happened on the set you're on.
The actual demo was pretty brief. If it didn't break. Mine happened to break on me a couple times. But you can see what they're going for, which I think is the most important part. Right, they've got a unique mechanic. Actually, both of their games, both Pedestrian and Quiet on Set, have unique mechanics. And Pedestrian definitely felt more polished than Quiet on Set. But they're definitely, you can see, like I said, you can see where they're going with both of them. Which, in circumstances like this and conventions and things like that, there's a lot of games that you run into where it's like an orc cloud, right? Like, it's not really a defined goal that you can see, right? The developer will have this lofty expectation of a goal, but you sitting down playing the demo may not necessarily see it. Pedestrian and Quiet on Set, actually, most of the games that I played, you could see what they were going for.
Mm-hmm.
Much more clearly than in years past. But you checked out Kindred Fates from SkyMill Studios.
Let me make sure I have my notes right on Kindred Fates, but that
was the Monster Battle.
Oh, the Pokemon one. Yeah. So I'm sorry, not Pokemon game. So Kindred Fates, which you currently I might just be wishlisting this on Steam. It was actually a game that I'm going to be very intrigued by, kind of going forward. But what it basically is that you are totally not a Pokemon trainer, and we didn't get to see the collecting feature, so I don't know what that's like. But basically, we saw this battle feature, which they were pitching to us that it was similar to, what is that big Japanese game on PlayStation and PC?
Oh, Genshin Impact.
Yes, Genshin Impact. There is very similar combat they're pitching, which I don't have good familiar with, so I didn't kind of know. But
I haven't really explored it.
See, that doesn't seem like our type of game. Once you're in the battles, you take control of these animals with powers that usually are elemental of some sorts, and then you literally fight in this open, basically, arena. I thought it played decently well. I still think there's some kind of, it's way better as a range game than like a close combat game, and I think will be kind of a problem with it.
Well, and that could have been the team that you chose too, because I think you chose.
And that totally could have been the team I chose. Yeah. So there's a lot of them available, and I only played with one set of these creatures. So again, that's a valid point. But I thought it played surprisingly stable, and I thought it was like the movement was easy to control, and I thought that was impressive. So I would say it's something that's kind of keep an eye on. But it's definitely very much when you're picturing that open world Pokemon battle you dreamed your head, that is totally what they're at least aiming for here in this type of game.
Yeah. And I mean, they definitely there were a lot of UI elements that felt very much like the new Pokemon games.
Yeah, it was like you could like. It's fair to say there's inspiration there, no matter what
Yeah.
to what level. There's definitely inspiration.
And I mean, it's still early enough that they could just be using that as kind of placeholder.
Uh, and then after that, I was curious. I only saw like half this. I kept kind of coming to and from.
Oh, I'll go
You
through
said-
this because I saw a lot more.
Okay, cool.
Tombstone Taxi is a couch co-op kind of twin stick shooter driving taxi game. Top down. It's very interesting, I think. It's got a lot of heart. It's very early on. But that will definitely be one that I want to at least check in on from time to time. Stitched Together, I'll talk about in a sec. I want to go through some of the ones that
Let's give me the one. Okay,
I kind of flew through. Primrose, I checked out from Tertiop Studios. That is going to be my new airplane game or airport game.
Really?
It's like a Sudoku style tile game. Really, really cute, really fun. High score base game. Let's see. Going down. Some of these are just logos. I talked to the team at Haptic Studio. They are a motion capture development crew. Really cool group. And doing some pretty cool stuff. There, let's see. Mole Maiden is kind of it's a side-scrolling kind of Dig Dug-esque. It was a fun demo. It was a time demo, so I got stuck a few times, so it kind of ate into my time. So I didn't get to explore a ton of that. And they won't release it because there's zero way that you could release it, but Brian and Alan Games created this like ROM hack NES like conglomeration where you needed to use like every controller that the NES had. You needed to use a Game Freak. Like, it was a really cool experience. I'm not seeing the other one on here because I think it's maybe just his studio and not the name of the game. Right? Am I missing it?
What am I looking for?
The shit, search the name.
What was it?
It's that Aro. Aro. AHRO. It is out on Steam. Very stylistic, I'd say.
Oh.
It gives off Journey. I wish I could think of some others right now, but they're kind of blanking. Very atmospheric, kind of searching around, finding things. And Yeah, it's one of those where I don't know how long it is necessarily. Like we've got contact with the developer. I'd love to talk to him more about it. Because I'd like to know, like, okay, how long is this supposed to be? Like, you know, obviously the story goes certain places, but it's got a really cool mechanic behind it. I'll let people that are interested look into it. But Stitched Together is probably the one that I spent
the longest with, I'd say.
I think so, yeah. And this one actually was probably the most, while visually and like content wise it wasn't completely there, mechanically it seemed to be most of the
I was
way
like,
there.
you had the battling systems going, you
Yeah.
had the exploration. We had some camera work that was a little, I don't know if
Yeah.
we quite agreed with, but like you could definitely tell this felt like the most like this is a game. It's not all there yet, but this is a game.
Yeah. Like I could see Stitched Together being released in early access
Relatively soon.
soon, yeah. It's a fun so kind of unfortunately they locked the like leveling systems and stuff like that. But so it's a party of 5. It's turn-based JRPG combat with, you know, your status effects and your mana and health and all of that. And I wish they would have explored more, or explained more, I should say. Characters having like base elemental attacks potentially. And that's something that could be changed through gear and stuff like that. But they had a really cool mechanic in there where to solve a puzzle for one of them, you had to keep turning the lights on and off to get past these security lasers. And I was struggling with it because of the way that my mind was processing the map. The game itself didn't have anything wrong with it.
From the outside, the flip also was interesting because like I didn't know the flip happened when this camera switch happened, so it's just actually though I couldn't quite tell like what the problem was from like being a third party.
Yeah. So, and then I got to explore a little bit of the mechanic that's really going to have this game standing apart from everything else. There's a fabric world, which is like the fabric of space-time that you can interact with. And I mean, like, base, if you break it down to its bare elements, this is something that's been done 1,000 times. Where like, oh, the thing you do in the dark world affects the stuff in the light world, and so it's that idea. But it's like this really, you can see where, you know, it's gonna take a little work with some textures and some colors and stuff like that. But the fabric world looks like fabric. So it's got this really cool look. And yeah, it was one of those where like I had a couple kind of bigger fights in the game, and it was, you know, it's one of those JRPG combats where it's like, you know, you're gonna win. It's just a matter of kind of wearing the opponent down enough to just, you know, get by. So yeah, I would say the last time we went to GDEX, there were maybe 1 or 2 standouts that were like, you felt like were somewhat ready. I feel like everything that we interacted with was at least at that level.
Yeah, like maybe there's one or two last time that maybe fought, but like I think we're very much like at that level.
Yeah. Where it's like, okay, at least everything that you and I interacted with, the basic mechanics were there.
Mm.
Maybe textures weren't there or whatever. Like, that stuff you can look past. But, like I say, the basics were there, the building blocks were there that you could see what they were going for. Which I thought was...
Which is, like, especially depending how new the team is a still impressive feat.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, by all accounts, Quiet on Set is, like, 1 or 2 people. So... And Pedestrian, I think, was another very small team. Yeah.
Perfect.
Ooh, what should we choose as our favorite games?
Ooh, I like that.
It doesn't say how many we're limited to.
I do think that one that Pokemon looked like one did kind of stood out.
What was the name of that? Dirt Fates.
Like, I think generally, like, it played super well, which I think is super hard to do.
Yeah. All right, we're doing 3. Stitch Together, Kindred Fates, and Primrose, because Primrose, I think, is
beautiful.
Ready to... Shit. There we go. We submitted our awards, or our nominees. There was a concert. Did we miss out on a concert?
We did miss out on a concert. I think it was Thursday night.
No, Saturday. Saturday night.
Damn.
Well, shoot, dang.
Shoot, dang.
Oh, also, Legendary VIP and Exhibitor Mixer.
I think that was the thing I said I didn't go to.
No, that was Friday night.
Oh.
That was the event Friday night.
Oh, that was...
The last time we were there, it was actually a mixer. This time, it was like...
It's rough because there's like multiple conventions, and that totally was like, They probably were like, here's a convention bar, and like, I get how that... It just felt like a rougher, like, go meet people environment.
Well, here's the funny thing. So, the mixer started at 6:30, which I think we knew. But then the kickoff party was Friday as well, and that started at 8:30. There was no, like, differentiator. They weren't checking passes, nothing. Like, it was just like, hey, we're going to meet up at this bar. Like, the stuff that you would get into with people that you meet at a convention and being like, hey, let's go to a bar. It felt like that was kind of what their official parties were. Because, yeah, like the bar that we went to was a sports bar and like it was slammed. There was no marketing at all for being like, hey, this is for GDEX people. So that was a little odd, but Parlay Sports Club, though, in Columbus, Ohio.
Their drinks weren't that expensive.
Not expensive, and the waitresses are pretty attractive, not gonna lie.
Can't say it looked quite like you did.
Well, admittedly, there were only a few that were coming out, so where we were standing, I was actually going up to the bar and seeing some deep cuts, but yeah.
Yeah, that was GDEX. We'll be back at some point. I think GDEX is always a good time. I think they very much, like, especially for where it is, like, have a good size going.
It's a good time. I just feel like the two experiences that I've had with them, if they combined the games from this year with
like
the mixer stuff from the first year that we went, it would be perfect. Because it would be like this, the mixer events would actually feel like mixer events, and you know, the people there in that bar are specifically especially like the VIP mixers, like specifically people that exhibitors and press and you know, the people that want that exposure. Those events are great for that. Instead, it was just
entirely.
It was just, hey, hang out front outside of the sports bar, and
hopefully you just find someone else who's just also hanging out inside the sports bar.
Yeah.
Right.
But on to stuff we have seen. Joker Folie
Joker Folie. I forget, have we talked about Joker Folie?
Not on here, but you and I have talked about it.
Yeah. Just shorthand, longhand on this. I don't know if I think it's bad, but it's like a weird movie that I think has a bunch of like fun, interesting ideas. And it also, I think, I still think it's worse than ever when people keep saying this. I do think though it's a broader context of maybe there's too much of a trend we're seeing of like you give director almost enough rope to hang themselves with, they pull out an ace, so then studios just assume that somehow they will always pull out this ace. That I think is still weird. Like, what's this film like 3 times the budget of Joker 1, but like even at their best they'd only make the money of Joker 1, so like how does that mathematically make any sense?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those where, at least from what I've seen, right, where they go, oh, hey, this guy was stupid successful with this project, and as such, let's just give him all of the money.
Mm-hmm.
When really, I don't know if necessarily saying, oh, he should have had a smaller budget is the right answer.
I don't know,
but something in between what he had and what he had for Joker 1. Because the beautiful thing about filmmaking that isn't the same in games is when you take money away from a creator, it's usually a lot better. Because they don't have these crutches to lean on of, you know, oh, well, we can just fix that in CG, or we can just do this, or we can just do that. If you have a very small budget, you have to do everything in camera. You have to do, like, you have to scale everything back. So now the story becomes so much more important.
And I do think, like, the story wasn't amazing. And, like, Joker 1, to be fair, I don't think the story of Joker 1 is amazing. I think it's, like, the ambience and the whole story of that film. And it's very much I think there is some truth to that online talk of, I don't know if Todd Phillips really understood why people liked Joker or why it made its money.
Yeah. Because
they're not the same. Like, Joker 1 and Joker 2, besides Joker 2 literally being like, and this happened in Joker 1, are such different films that, like, it's not like a film evolved. Like, it's like, oh, this is like, it's like when you get one of those sequels that we talked about, like, Glitter Cape Guy sequel, like one of those, but like, instead of it like actually being bad, where you knew this was straight to DVD, where like this is like, oh no, you could tell that like they had money and people who knew about it, but like they just didn't quite get there.
I really don't know what the proper answer is for these movies that just, especially sequels that are so much worse than the original, right? Where or at the very least, like they're just spinning their tires versus.
I think that's what I'd call this film. Again, it's not bad. It's just kind of there.
Which is the worst thing to say about a movie. Like, if a movie is bad enough, it will get an audience because it's that bad. If a movie is good enough, it will gain an audience because it's good enough. If it is a meh, if it is just there, that's how you kill studios. That's how you kill actors' careers.
See Warner Brothers.
I mean, Warner's money issues have been outside of the movie side, so as they try to do this stupid merger with Discovery, and that's been like a 2.5, 3-year process.
At this point, they're merged, right? They're one company.
Yeah,
there is
one.
no Discovery.
They're one, but they still have 2 streaming services. Like, Discovery Plus is still a thing.
I do. What is even? Wasn't Discovery? Isn't that Paramount Plus?
Discovery Plus? No, that's.
What was Paramount
Max.
Plus?
Paramount Plus has always been Paramount Plus.
No, it was something else before it.
No, Paramount Plus has always been. There's Peacock, Paramount Plus.
Paramount Plus was CBS All Access.
Okay. Yeah, they had that.
That's what I'm like. No. I'm positive they changed. I was like no.
Well, but it wasn't the same thing.
But no, yes, it was.
No,
CBS All Access was basically Paramount Plus with more TV, less film.
Also, it wasn't as app-based as it is now.
That's fair.
I think CBS All Access was more web-based. That's what I'm saying.
Because the CBS All Access was like the Star Trek Discovery, and that was kind of the reason people knew it.
Yeah,
also,
that was more web-based.
Paramount Plus has way more subscribers than I thought they would.
Dude, it's also cheap.
71 million subscribers.
Yeah.
It's like growing every quarter.
I mean, it's $6.
Okay, from 2020 to 2021, it quadrupled in size and has never looked back.
Yeah. It's that Yellowstone spinoff money.
Oh my god.
So
I want to meet someone who watches that show. I still do.
Which one?
Did you watch Yellowstone?
My parents did. I watched a few episodes.
It's one of those shows that, like, it's like the joke you see people like, NCIS is the number one show on TV, and you're like, who watches it? Like, it's like one of those shows.
Yeah. Yeah, my parents watched, I think, a couple seasons of it. I know the spinoffs did better.
And he's
also,
returning solely because the movie flopped, right?
What's that?
He's solely returning because the movie flopped.
No, the plans for him to return were already in place before the movie was released. But like, to get the full Yellowstone experience, you need 2 streaming services. Because Yellowstone is on Peacock, and all the spinoffs are on Paramount. So it's like, if you are fully sold on, if you are a 50s white American, you've got Paramount and Peacock because of Yellowstone and its spinoffs. And you're bitching on Facebook every day that you have to jump back and forth between the two. So I think that's why you see a lot of the numbers for Paramount the way that they are. I am worried about Paramount, though. Paramount Plus, I should say. Because it feels like every new project on there is a Taylor Sheridan project.
Okay.
And it's like, dude, that guy's got way too much control over you now. Case in point, I mean, hold on. Let me pull up Paramount Plus's website right now, and I'll tell you how many projects he's got on there. Tulsa King, one of his. Let's see. Mayor of Kingstown, one of his. Lawman, Bass Reeves, one of his. Lioness, one of his. So, I mean, he's got the top 2 shows on the service. And the rest are like 3 is NCIS, 4 is FBI, 5 is Tracker, which is. Oh, I guess it's an actual show. I thought it was one of those like survival shows. 6 is that show Ghosts. I don't know if you remember hearing about that. Where it's like they buy a haunted house and one of them can see the ghosts or something like that. 7 is Criminal Minds Evolution. 8 is The Neighborhood. 9 is SpongeBob. And 10 is Blue Bloods. So, I mean, there are 1, 2, 3 Paramount Plus originals on there, and 2 of them are Taylor Sheridan projects. So it's one of those where you're approaching kind of. He's gonna be in that situation of. He's got 1883, he's got 1923, he's got Lawman Bass Reeves, he's got 4 6s is coming out. He's got a new one coming out. It's like Land. Shit, what's it called? It's gonna bug me. Land something. Please tell me there's a coming soon section. That would be great.
Coming soon.
Espionage movies and shows, high speed action, inspired, featured, coming soon. Okay. Landman is the name of it.
Landman.
He's got that coming out. It's just one of those situations where you're like, this dude is, he's going to be running that streaming service. Now, obviously, your NCISs, your CBS-based shows are really driving what's going on. I'd be curious to see like the actual numbers behind this. But yeah, I mean, and getting to Paramount Plus, right? Like Tulsa King, I've been watching that. That's the Sylvester Stallone show that he's got. It's good. Like it feels like a Sheridan project. Like you can definitely.
Is it the age-old like one of those like sure it's a show, but like it's a show that like if this is the best thing on TV, you have a problem?
I don't think it takes itself that serious. Of like, oh, this is the best thing on TV. It's like you can tell like. You can feel at least where they're heading with it. It's not one of those shows. It's like trying to. Also, it's not the best thing on TV because Penguin is on TV.
Yes, that's fair. After we talk this, we need to get to that because I don't think I've universally heard praise about this show since The Last of Us. Like level of Penguin praise is actually insane.
Just to wrap up Paramount and Tulsa King talk, it's still going. It's one of those shows.
It will go until Sylvester Stallone has paid all of his taxes.
Yeah. So do you want to talk about Penguin or Yakuza first?
Give us the 101 Yakuza and then we'll jump to Penguin.
It's a TV show that's based roughly on 0 and 1. There you
go. Okay. Would you check it out or no?
I'm actually talking to somebody at work about this. Because their girlfriend wants them to play the games first before checking out the show. And I'm like, dude, just watch the show, because if you play the game and then watch the show, you're going to be doing what I'm doing of, well, that's not supposed to be like that. What's going on? This isn't making sense. Watch the show and then play the game, and you can then think back and say, oh, this is what they're referencing in the show. Or oh, this is how it's different between the show and the game. Especially in a series as deep as the Like a Dragon series, where there's so many storylines. Yeah, like Zero took me, over 30 hours, probably 40 hours to beat. You can't take that kind of detail into a show. So it's going to run into some issues. But yeah. Also, watch it subtitled in original Japanese.
Oh.
I know for me, Prime Video defaulted to English dub. So, do yourself a favor. Experience the show like everyone experienced the games. Japanese dialogue with English subtitles. There you go.
Perfect. And now let's jump to the show of the moment, which has to be Penguin.
Yeah, it definitely feels like one of those water cooler shows, doesn't it? Where like everybody is watching Penguin and everybody loves it.
Mm-hmm.
Which I will say, if you had told me going into watching the Batman that the Penguin would be the character that everyone falls in love with and has a spin-off show,
I want to put up. Let's go back. Go back further. Go back to like when we first saw the screenshots or the casting, or you just saw him in the fat suit. If we said this was gonna be the show of the moment.
well, just that there would be a show, right? That's what I was kind of getting at. Like, if you had told me the Penguin was the character that got a show. Now, granted, the movie kind of sets up that he's in power, or potentially in power. Also, like, the show is so star-studded. Like, they got fucking Clancy Brown to do this. Yeah,
Okay,
Colin Farrell. Like,
okay, real question though. Does Clancy Brown say no to a paycheck? Like, he does very good. I'm not saying he's bad. But, like, he seems like a man that as long as you have a baseline, and I don't mean the highest baseline, he'd be like, I'll do it.
I think he's willing to test himself.
Because
There's a better way
I know
to
you don't watch it, but like Gen Z on The Boys, like she's a main character there and like very good, but also like one of those you're like, how did you get someone to do this for this many episodes?
Yeah, I think he just likes to challenge himself. He's an actor because he likes to act. Right? Like there is a crop of actors out there that do it solely for the money.
Mm-hmm.
And actors like Clancy Brown, like Tom Cruise, like Jeremy Renner is another good example.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to think of some female actresses that are kind of the same way. Like, I would have said Cate Blanchett before the Borderlands movie.
That shit at base quality.
Well, that she liked to test herself and wasn't just in it for the money. Why can't I think of her name? Tilda Swinton is one of those.
That's a good example. Like even that other Georgia Miller one that she did. Like that's a very good example of someone who's just like, yeah, I'll take some weird shit.
So, yeah, I mean, this is a great example of HBO is appointment television still. Does not matter that we are in the streaming world. Does not matter that Netflix exists. Everybody turns, Max on at 9 p.m. on a Sunday and watches The Penguin. Because it's appointment television.
Which is in the world of streaming is wild.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. It's definitely one of those where you're like, this shouldn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
But it does. And we are thankful for it.
We are thankful for it. But yeah. Anything else that we need to touch base on besides obviously tell people to go check out The Penguin?
that's about it. I mean, you're gonna like it. If you liked the Batman movie, you're gonna like the Penguin. I definitely think that is like, if you weren't a fan of that universe, it's a lot harder to embrace the show.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. Perfect. Let's jump into some news. I would say let's jump with probably the top film news, which is I was just thinking the other month, I'm like, we're getting close. We have at least some level of we know going on with Christopher Nolan's next film. We don't know much. We know he's looking for Matt Damon. We know it's eyeing for summer of 25. Is there anything kind of that you've been floating on hearing, or anything that you feel that Nolan should tap, or anything that stands out when you hear new Nolan coming out?
I haven't really been paying attention. In regards to Nolan projects, I just let him be him. Because it's one of those where he's got a baseline of quality, right? Where, Tenet's probably the one where it definitely forced you to watch it several times to understand what's going on. But as soon as you understood the timeline of how things worked, you saw that Nolan quality, that he's known for.
Like, Memento, I don't think gets the same flack that I think it should, because to me, it's almost more confusing than Tenet.
I don't think, though, because with Memento, he was writing stuff down.
Right.
So you at least had this kind of I don't know, like, he was helping you as well as him, right, to remember stuff. And whereas Tenet is like, nah, you gotta figure this shit out yourself. So.
Yeah, but gives you that, like, Tenet gives you the, like, looping satisfaction, and kind of you go, like, you should, like, I agree there's, like, some weird stuff, but, like, as a whole, I never found it, once you go through it, I'm like, it is not, like, other things are more confusing. It's just more like a twist.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Tenet is the perfect example of, like, if you go back and watch Sixth Sense, knowing the twist, like, it's one of those movies where
it makes more sense.
Yeah, it's a completely different movie knowing the twist.
Right, and like Tenet, when you know the, like, time twist, you watch for them.
Yeah.
And see if it makes sense, the back and forth.
Yeah. So, I think a lot of the public discourse around Tenet was, and rightfully so, right? That is a movie for intellectuals, and it doesn't hide that at all.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's very easy to kind of make jokes about, like, you're not smart enough for Tenet, when that is really part of the movie. Like, it's a movie for a generation that doesn't exist anymore. Right? It's a movie for a generation that their full undivided attention is at that screen.
Yes.
And paying attention to what is shown, what is talked about.
Also, it's a movie I've learned you can't have someone watch who's half falling asleep.
Oh, yeah, like,
because it's a movie that if you 100% miss that last 20 minutes, then I understand why you go, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Chris Nolan coming out soon. I just threw this in there because film news is real slow, and I think this might be the most terrifying thing I've heard pitched in a while. Apparently, so live action Rugrats films wouldn't scare me, but over at Paramount, they're having a live action hybrid Rugrats film. Why wouldn't you just make a Rugrats film or not make one? Why would you think it's a good idea to have like adults, I'm assuming, than animated babies? I'm just start. You're familiar with Rugrats, right? I'm assuming
Yeah.
we're both of the same generation. For most people, if you don't know it, I'm just gonna assume that you're young and just look it up.
Yeah, if you don't know Rugrats, you are under the age of 20.
Yeah, but do you have the same nightmares I do when I read that pitch?
No. Only because of the Sonic movies.
But the thing with the Sonic movies is those are humanoids, they're not humans. It being human babies is gonna be real weird.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, the technology
Is there in theory?
that for these hybrid movies is way better than what's framing Roger Rabbit.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's why I'm not as worried.
Okay. Jumping from films, we have 2 trailers. I'm gonna just hit one real fast because I at least wanted to shout out. We know that now that season 3 of Invincible is coming out on February 6th. Obviously, I'm a big fan of the show. I think it's high quality. We'll see it soon. But the important one, the one that I think we talked about when we had the teaser of this, is we got a trailer for Dune Prophecy.
Mm-hmm.
Why isn't this a show that is getting basically no hype, but it looks basically as good as I'd expect a show about the movie to have physically been possible and beyond what I thought this was going to look like?
There's something about this show that I think a lot of people are passing up. It was a not throwaway comment because it definitely got some headlines written about it, but the team behind the show was asked, like, did you feel any urge to stick with the whole Villeneuve experience? And they go, Denis runs the show, right? Like, anything related to his Dune saga, he signs off on. So this show will have the Denis Villeneuve stamp of approval.
Like, you've Mark Strong, he looks like all of this, like sure, you could tell it's shot a little cheaper because it's a TV show, right? It's like when you go from the first season 2 of The Mandalorian from like the movies. Like, sure, it's cheaper because it's a TV show, but like, it looks right. It feels right in this trailer. Like the costuming, even like that's one where you really expected almost get bad. And like all this seems like we don't have the story fully like in action yet, but like they at least. Yeah, it at least does seem like he had to have signed off to like make this make sense.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's one of those where it's gonna be good. It's gonna be appointment television again. Believe it's the end of November.
Yes, I just saw it. November 17th.
Yeah. So that makes me question. Dune Prophecy launches November 17th. So let's back. So there's only 2 more episodes of Penguin.
Mm-hmm.
Because they are not overlapping. Penguin and they might do it for a week. I think they did that with Last of Us and something else.
The true streamer to do it, right? You wrap up something and then in the hype you launch the next. Like that makes sense.
So I don't know. We'll see.
We shall see. Jumping into game news. This is I'd usually put Layoffs at the tail end, but this was objectively the biggest story of the month. So I think we have to do it. So obviously, I think we lost talk last time. Concord launched for a few days, went away. No one played it. Sorry, the 5,000 you did. Effective like 2 days ago, Sony has closed Neon Core and Firewalk Studios. Obviously, Firewalk Studio known as the team behind Concord, and the Neon Core was when they actually acquired the mobile studio Savage, which I think was connected to that acquisition of Firewalk. So we now know, based on other reporting, we knew this from before, we're talking about Sony's taking on the low end, like a $300 million write-off here. Is this, like, the biggest failure of a game ever? When especially account for the whole studio got shuttered with this event?
Maybe StarCraft Ghosts?
Maybe, but, like I don't think, like, because, like, I was actually been reading the Jason Schreier book, and, like, I didn't see a StarCraft Ghosts numbers, but, like, Titan, the estimate is that Blizzard wrote off $80 million. I'd be really shocked if they wrote off more than StarCraft Ghost, like, versus Titan.
Well, I guess also the problem is, like, games are at such a weird scale now, where, like,
yeah, like
it could be $300 million write-off just because of 2024 pricing, right? Like, they could have had more hours. Well, by all accounts, they had more hours into Titan when they wrote that off.
Mm-hmm.
And StarCraft Ghost was ready to come out. They were showing it off. And then they canceled it. So, I mean, it's also one of those, like, what's worse in that scenario, right? Like, is it worse to not even launch the project? Or launch it die, and then have to write that all off?
Here comes the question that I'm curious kind of your thoughts on. Based on what we've seen and how Sony's reacted, my impression is, though, it would feel like to me is that they thought going into launch, this thing maybe wouldn't be the greatest in the world. It didn't seem like they thought this would be this level of catastrophic failure, though, obviously. Because I feel like at that point we would have seen either delaying it to try to eke something out, or like not releasing it. Like the act of them releasing it, putting this big effort, and then just immediately pulling it, I feel like that could not have been on the plans going into this launch.
Oh, yeah, dude. No company goes into a project going, man, I hope this fails.
Here's the real thing I'm curious about, right? So this game wasn't free. So this game was pre-ordered for a bunch of people. Like,
yeah, it was
were they looking? Yeah, were they looking at these pre-orders like shitting themselves, just hoping they were wrong? Like what? Like, what are you thinking this pre-order list was? 10,000 people? Like, can you imagine, like, the back-end point of view, looking at these numbers, being like, are we seeing this?
I mean, if I'm remembering right, like 25,000 people
bought it, period.
Yeah, bought it. So that's $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
That they brought in, like, okay. So you have to refund $1 million, and then you've got the write-off of the studio and all the work. Dude, like, this is a great example of, you know, the fandom layoffs are another great example of this industry just takes, and for it to give back, it just doesn't. So, I guess my question is, should games be costing this much, right? Like, by all accounts...
And anyone's trying to argue with me, like, hi, I work in engines, but also, like, being objective, like a lot of there is some base level of human beings cost more every year, like that. There's some natural, like that's normal, but there is some level of, like, we have decided that every character needs to be X many polygons more than they used to. We have decided that every game needs a certain level of freedom than it used to. We've decided 4K textures are the same. Like, we've decided these little things that like we have just decided, and like we could like to like not do those things. Like, this is interesting. Of like, if every studio step back, they could find ways probably to step back without lowering stuff in ways that people would actually tangibly notice.
Here's the ultimate question. Concord supposedly cost $300 million to make.
Mm-hmm.
By all accounts, Grand Theft Auto 5 cost about $270 million.
Yeah, and that would have been, I think, might be the most expensive that we know of, at least the budgets we know of, or whatever. Yeah.
How in the royal fuck did a game cost more than GTA 5?
Well, there is something that needs to be said comparing those two. And I'm not saying it's a perfect analysis. Is we are comparing U.S. salaries to mostly European salaries, which is part of this inflation, but not the whole thing, right? But like part of it is also like GTA 5. If you look at it in the distance, we're okay with when you're in the distance things look ugly in that game. It's like a good like GTA 5. I think I said it then, and I stick with this. That is a game that is a ton of 7s and 8s, but what makes it almost a 10 is because there was literally like 57 or 8 games built in it. But the point is, those aren't like little perfect. Like, if I go on a single screen in Horizon, it's probably a higher resolution than like chunks of that game in GTA.
Yeah. Also, we have to remember that GTA 5 was built for the PS3.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, that's the other part of it too, right? Like, GTA 5 is a $270 million PS3 game. You know, I get that now we're at the PS5. And it wouldn't surprise me if the GTA 6 budget is $500 million. That we need games like GTA 6 and well, I guess Ubisoft's fallen off the horse, but we need big games that feel like big games to kind of reset the way we think about games.
Like the problem was GTA 5 became our anchor point, and now things can fly past. Like, I could make games today probably with a small team that and single screens look better than GTA 5.
Right. And everyone's so fed up on graphics, right? Like, that's all anyone cares about is, you know, well, how good does it look? How good are the reflections, right? Like,
the live ray tracing, this, that. Like, I'm not saying aren't visual improvements, but like they don't care to the level that like we're pushing them down.
They don't give a shit if, you know, the story is written by some of the greatest minds in writing. They just want those screenshots that they can post on Twitter and be like, this is the best looking game in the world, or this is the worst looking game in the world. Like,
also, this is different from the base budget, but it's true in the sense of we're seeing games sell problem. I do think there is something to be truth of, and you might see this kind of, I think, because like games are now at the point where we're like 2 or 3 generations in of developers, right? Like if you look at like kind of how long the industry's really been around in professional capacity. And I do think we're seeing a lot of this last few years of, it feels like game developers are writing games for fellow game developers. And like by that I mean, especially like indie games, you see the subject lines, or even mid-sized games, or like little stuff like the Assassin's Creed choosing not to be a ninja when we're going to Japan, even though that's what everyone in the mainstream wanted. Like, it's like this things of like, and I think there is starting to come that disconnect then of you these interesting games, but like who are they really for? But like you keep hearing each other talk about it, so it feels like a lot more people it's going to be. And then people on the other side going like, but then my only big event every year now is just Call of Duty and the 5 sports games. That looks what I expect a game to look like.
It's the perfect example, right? Like when you talk about sports games, everybody bitches and moans that Madden's just a $70 roster update. If they dropped the visual quality in Madden, people would be livid. Because, it doesn't look as good. So it becomes this question of, what are you really in it for? Right? Like, you just want pretty shiny things? Fine. Like,
pretty shiny things in the world. Yeah. Do you just want pretty shiny? Do you want to play well? Do you want a mixture? But you have to be willing to accept something has to. It's the age old, like, here's the slider and here's the bar in the middle. What level of stuff are you picking up?
Yeah,
but you only pick up
it's
so
the
much.
triangle, right? Of you can pick two, but the others, basic. So.
Going back to your base thing, I think a lot of these extra costs over the last, especially like 5, maybe 10 years, is stuff that studios have actively decided to do. And if you look at cost, a lot of it has been in the increase in the art pipeline, for example, is a very tangible level of increased cost. And some of it's very good. But that is also why you're getting some of this being so expensive, because now, if we want to make a character, it's how much longer than it even was 10 years ago.
Yeah. Well, and I think about too, right? Like, you want to talk about increased budgets for visual effect. What's the budget for the Hitman franchise? Right, from 2016 on.
Right.
Maybe 150 between the 3 games. Maybe a little bit more. Those are some of the best looking games out there. And budget-wise, people don't care about the budget. People don't care, people like that it looks good, but they're way more interested in the crazy shit that you can get up to. So, if you are a game dev at this point, I would take that as being like, people want fun mechanics and stuff that looks good.
Well, even I think of, we kind of saw it, like in the sense of, in the last decade, we've seen the rise of, in film TV, of A24, and it's that middle. They found a way to still look higher budget, but obviously very tight because less amount of actors a lot of times in their films and stuff, and they made it cheaper. Games, I think we kind of tried to see that rise. It's funny because it seems to me like Xbox should be the most functional to do this. When you get stuff like Pendament would be a good example of that. Trying to find this middle tier of you want something to look really nice, great, but it's going to be the super tighter thing.
I do wonder, going to something like A24. A24 is one of those distributors that they just let people make because they love to make.
But they're very specialized of you can make, but here's your very limited budget or tighter budget.
You have a limited budget, but it's not like you aren't, if your movie is going to be distributed by A24, you're not getting a marketing budget. And you know that going in. So you're going to make an A24 movie. Right? So something that's it's going to be focused on story, it's going to be focused on some of that stuff. And so it is one of those where it's like, it really doesn't feel like games have those. Right, I think
we did. I feel like we saw it in the AAA space, or whatever we'd call those indies with a budget, right? So, Annapurna was one. You see it, and you saw it originally. And
the problem is those things existed because these massive studios were buying up other people, and it's like, okay, so they got this massive budget, and then now what? Right? It's just, yeah. I think the problem is there is this disconnect, right? People like myself that are more movie based in terms of their background.
Mm-hmm.
The disconnect of like, there's so many people in the movie industry that just make because they love making. Back to the Clancy Brown thing, right? Like, he loves the challenge of playing his roles. Video games just feel like they are way too focused on, we have to make a gajillion dollars. And obviously you have those small indies, but it feels like, people are going back and forth, right? Like, you could have somebody in a smaller movie. You could have a Robert Pattinson in The Lighthouse, and then he's also the Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And they'll go back and forth. With games, it just doesn't feel like you have that. And obviously, it's a lot harder in terms of like, well, okay, who could really go? Like maybe an art person, maybe a director or something like that. Games are much more collaborative in the sense of it's harder for one person to stand out. But the industry just needs to figure something out.
I generally don't know what the solution is going to be.
Yeah.
Speaking of studios that are trying to figure out what the future is, this was early in the month news, but I think news we've brought out is, so 343 Industries is no more, is officially becoming Halo Studios. So basically, they just kind of took the Band-Aid off on that one. And then the big shtick is now, instead of using their custom technology, they will be using UE5, which, when we talk about like ways to make games cheaper, stuff like this is a way to do it, which is to get off these proprietary engines. And short of someone like id with Doom, who like has a very specific, like, we're the first person, we make very specific feeling things, like, I am going to be very interested. Like, Sony obviously has a few engines floating around, Microsoft has like one or two. Like, I'll be curious, kind of, as you see these few proprietors floating left, at what point do they kind of just become, maybe you get a studio system wide one, but that's probably kind of it. I think that's kind of the big story here, because let's be honest, Halo, until we see something from them, I think no one trusts the studio currently.
Well, so my question becomes, with the kind of homologation of engines, you saw it with EA, that doesn't always work. Right, where
It took quite a few years to become a good sports engine, for sure, and racing engine.
Yeah, it just doesn't.
So I'd be curious though, because like Frostbite is an engine that was specialized. They had to make intergeneric engine. Yeah. Where like something UE5 or Unity or more engines that are built to be generic that you could kind of add stuff to customize. And I wonder if that little twist would make it easier to kind of make it work cross stuff. Or like otherwise, like, let's be honest, they had to let's make first person shooting engine work with cars and work with stuff where like it wasn't built for it all.
Yeah, that's very possible.
So we shall see, but hopefully something good comes out of that. I want to shout out, first time I feel like in a while, we had a very decent sized video game acquisition, which Keyword Studios has announced that it has acquired Certain Affinity, and then also that we knew that it's also going private. This to me is interesting because Keyword Studios is one of those studio like support systems that exist in the background, but like is not something that is super talked about a ton, especially I feel like in the States. They have acquired quite a few small to mid-sized studios across the world, and they kind of support a lot of AAA systems. Certain Affinity obviously was very much known for that AAA support. I'm curious, kind of, you had thoughts of this, or since we haven't seen, I think, something of this size like this in quite a while.
I worry that we are potentially approaching another, now Embracer, right? Where
Interesting. The thing I'll give this studio system is it's a lot longer than Embrace, though, where Embrace, I feel like every 2 days we're waking up to news they bought someone.
Yeah. That's a good point.
I'm not saying you can't get too bloated either way, but Embrace are like, it was like from like 20 to like 22, they were buying stuff literally like every few days.
Well, that was back when money was cheap.
The money was cheap. God damn it.
So.
The other good news before we get to the rest of the sad news of the month is Destiny Rising has been announced. It's a NetEase mobile game, obviously being licensed from Bungie and Sony for the Destiny IP. I think the reason I call this good news is obviously new games are good, and then also, like, hopefully that means that maybe they're still Sony viewing Destiny as a longer-term thing. So, we hope the best. Hopefully it's good, and hopefully Bungie kind of learns its ways over the next years.
It's one of those. We'll see. I don't know.
I think Bungie isn't lost fully yet. I do think they're not going to be the size they were. Like, I think there's, like, Destiny's a game that, like, if Marathon comes out to Destiny quality, like, it's probably be fine. It's just they have to learn their scale and size and what makes sense.
Potentially.
So, we kind of touched on this. Is there anything else you kind of say about today? We learned there was some GameSpot/fandom layoffs. I don't know if we kind of have dug any more deeper, if we know anything else, or is it just the ones we knew from before?
I don't, as of when I was putting stuff in the show notes, the list wasn't big.
Yeah, I got a story from GamesIndustry.biz. We don't have any numbers yet. It looks like this is their 4th round of layoffs since acquiring everyone in 22.
Fandom lays off 11% of staff. GameSpot affected.
Okay.
Let's see.
Oh yeah, I see the Reddit post. That's all we got so far. Like, we don't have official numbers, which is interesting.
According to current fandom staff, employees were invited to an all-hands earlier today, in which Perkins Miller broke the news, chalking the layoffs up to a broader restructuring of the company in the face of market changes. In addition to GameSpot UK and video team members, fandom employees and sales and management were also affected.
Okay, so here is their current brands that still exist under fandom. GameSpot, Metacritic, TV Guide, Fanatical, Green Junkies, GameFAQs, Giant Bomb, Cord Cutters, Comic Fan, and whatever kind of really exists Comic Fan. GameFAQs and Metacritic are the two. I understand they're just brands from a brand point of view. Like, I think like a bunch of these, it's like, at what point is that brand exist solely for the URL versus like functionally being a brand?
Yeah, we'll see.
Like Metacritic, let's be honest, like as long as you have engineers to make sure it functions, isn't that literally what you just need? Like short of an engineer to, what do you need to be functioning on Metacritic? Like, as long as there's people maintaining the site.
Yeah, I don't know much. Like
GameFAQs, even like at this point, you just need people to kind of maintain the site.
I do wonder, like, how much of Metacritic at this point is built off of, especially the game side of Metacritic, how much of that is built off of the Giant Bomb wiki? Because by all accounts, like the Giant Bomb wiki, when they built that back when Giant Bomb first launched, they were licensing that across the internet. Like Amazon was licensing it, like Metacritic was for a while. Like anything that needed a database of games, they went to them because they had the most complete database of games. Knowing that, are we just going to see like Giant Bomb always tagged onto these sales because it's like, we have to keep that property if we want these others to work, basically.
Okay, but at what point did you just go like, if we're not liquidating, we care about the property because it's back on tech and that's all we care about?
Yeah. So it's like, does the brand have to exist because it has to exist, or
like
yeah.
Metacritic to me functionally, I stick with Here's what you need like 2 or 3, probably it's part to full time, depending what they do. Engineers / equivalent of technical webmasters that you probably have in these other agencies anyway. So it's people's extra time to keep these sites up. You run ads when you go on their site, pays for their time. That's what you care about. Like I don't understand what you're doing with this site's function anymore. I guess at some point.
Yeah, dude. I think a lot of people wish they knew.
Like, yeah. Other 2 types of layoffs we have. Riot announced another round of layoffs. So it was another like absurd percentage of people. Hopefully those slow down. And then Netflix, they closed their AAA studio and apparently laid off all that stuff. Which I still find it wild that Netflix was trying to make a AAA video game.
I mean, it's the age-old example of
Tech company thinks they make game.
Well, no, tech company just dumps a shit ton of money, and they think because they do that, they'll.
Yeah, because Netflix is one of those places I was hearing like absurd offer numbers.
Yeah.
Like during that like period of like 21 to like 23, like legit, there was absurd money flying around if you were someone in games willing to jump from a games company. So hopefully people land on their feet and hopefully this slows down at some point. Jumping to games coming up. Microsoft Flight Simulator 24 comes out on the 19th of November. Stalker 2 finally comes out on November 20th. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle comes out on December 9th. Monument Valley 3 on December 10th. Alien Rogue Incursion on December 19th. Freedom Wars Remaster on January 10th. Sid Meier's Civ 7 finally comes out on February 11th. Avowed, February 18th. And then AC Shadows on its new date of February 14th. I flipped them. I don't know if any of them stand out to you, kind of. Obviously, I think for me, Civ is probably the biggest one on this list.
I will believe that Stalker releases when it's available for sale. So.
Nice. And then finally, the movies of the month. This is actually a bunch of not great movies, but it's at least reflective of, I think, a better theater environment we were talking about. Here are the movies that stood out for this month. I saw Conclave, which was that priest one. Red 1, Gladiator 2, Wicked, according to AJ, Part 1, and then Mona 2.
You mean Moana?
Yeah, Moana 2. Do any of these that aren't named Gladiator 2 really stand out to you?
I'm looking for that Conclave.
Conclave is the Ralph Fiennes movie?
Yeah, I'm just not seeing it on the calendar.
Oh, because it just went to wide release, so it might be pending when they pull the...
Oh. Also, it's not just me that's saying Wicked is part 1. Like, anybody that has read anything about that knows that it's a part 2-part thing.
I can't get over that they're not saying that if that's real. Like, I just... Yeah, no, it's a 2-part. Do we even know about the second part? A year, yeah. Jesus fucking... I can't get over they did this.
The only reason I would be against Gladiator 2 is that comes out and then I leave for Florida
Okay.
for Thanksgiving. And it's like, I get back the first week of December, and then it's like, okay, well, we're into December movies at that point. Like,
no. Very fair. So what would you be feeling?
I guess we could do Gladiator 2, but we'd have to, so that comes out on the 22nd. That's the Friday before Thanksgiving. we'd basically have to, you and I would have to go see it Friday night, and then we'd have to record it Saturday so that we could get it up. But
that, or do you want to do Red One? You want to do a dumb one?
why not? Like, fuck it. Like, let's watch a rock movie that's gonna suck.
We haven't seen a rock movie in a few years.
Well, for the show.
Yeah, we watched Black Adam.
Dear God.
Okay, real question.
I had forgotten.
Pop quiz. Who was the villain in Black Adam?
He's the villain.
No, remember? He's just not a good guy.
Yeah, I know. There's some dude and he like rips him in half and that's it. And it's like,
To clarify, I pulled up the cast list for Black Adam. Do you know what I forgot? Why is the girl's name, and I think it was not pronounced this, but it's ISIS?
ISIS? Yeah, that's like God.
Yeah. Oh god, I forgot. I forgot this film had like the rest of like the Justice Society, whatever the hell, like.
Yeah.
God. This film was a fever dream, I hope you realize.
1000%.
I don't believe we really saw this film, even though I know we did. So yeah, we will see you. Red One. And hopefully, to God, it's alright. But that will do it. That's all the notes I have. I don't know those notes you have. But otherwise, that would do it for us here at the SWW Show. We have a stream to go do sometime.
Yeah, do we?
Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, otherwise, we will catch all of you back here next time as the holidays come among us, and we'll discussing stuff like a game of the year over the next 7 months. So,
Yeah.
catch y'all soon.
See ya.